This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group, and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is, let me pronounce it correctly, and he will pronounce it, Mansimran Kahlon. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes, you got it. Mansimran Kahlon, yes.
Very nice
Thank
name.
You.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good to meet you. And tell me a little bit about yourself. And we want to welcome to our show. Tell me a little bit of your background, and tell me a little bit about what are you running for, what seat, and give me a little bit of details.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you, GTV. I was 3 years old when I landed at Dulles.
So you came from India?
Yes, I did.
As an immigrant, like I did?
Exactly, at the age of 3. Back in '96 when I landed, Virginia and America was very welcoming, and it became our home.
And you want America to stay like that?
Exactly, which is exactly why we're doing what we're doing, right?
Okay, good. Go ahead.
So I'm running for the Virginia's 13th House of Delegates seat, and I think it's very important that the efficacy in politics of everybody is raised, especially post 2016.
Okay.
So you were talking about.
So what's your background?
My background, sorry.
And how does that fits into what you're running for, and what qualification do you bring to the table?
Right. So I'm a product of public schools.
Okay.
And I'm a child of 2 immigrant myself, middle class family. We've had those struggles, and we've gotten out of them and gotten back into them and gotten out of them again and again.
Which you want your constituency to have that dream.
Exactly. The American dream is something that my family has lived, and has
you want other
proven.
people to live that.
We do. We want everybody to have that chance to live it, no matter where they come from, who they are, and where they live. And Virginia is, I think, home to the American dream. My perspective as a small business owner and as a former Rutgers student, I think...
former what student?
Rutgers.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I think that I can bring those ideas that have not been presented in Virginia's politics yet. Such as knowing the problems of middle-class families.
So you understand the working class Americans and
exactly.
middle class Americans.
Exactly.
You understand the struggle that they're going through, the sacrifice.
My family's been through it itself. I've lived through those times, so I know exactly what the problems are and the solutions.
And how do you tell a Virginian who's just struggling?
Right.
They got a kids, and they got to put food on the table. They got to need a roof on their head.
Right.
That you will be the man who will help them to find the food on the table, to find the roof on their head, and so that they can send their children to the college. And you're the person who will help them to do that, who will guide them. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you said a lot yourself, so I think it answers the questions. When you have somebody who's been through your problems, who's been through the exact same situation as you are, and then some, I believe that's somebody you can trust to solve your problems, because that person had it the hard way. Exactly.
Okay.
Virginia is a citizenry representation. I come from the citizens.
So my other question is, what are the issues that your district, is that a district?
Yes, it is.
Your neighborhood have, and how do you go about solving those challenges and the problems and the issues that they have?
So what I did was I created this E-cubed concept.
What is the concept?
E-cubed.
Oh, E-cubed.
3 E's that I think every American and every Virginian
and what are those?
Lives through. Education,
good,
equality, economy.
And what's the second one? Equality.
Yes.
So you're talking about the opportunity, equality.
Yes, everything.
Economic mobility,
equity,
inclusiveness.
Okay, yes, equity. We are equity. So let me start from the top, right?
Okay.
Education. I'm a product of public schools. I hardcorely believe that public schools are the way to educate our future, and to ensure that Virginians and Americans come out to the top, right? That is something that I will definitely fight for.
Okay.
As a middle class family, we didn't afford private school, right? And I think that is somewhere where I sympathize and I understand. And not only do we have to continue to fund them, we also have to continue to raise the bar level and bring in new opportunities. I was fortunate enough to be part of the governor's STEM program in Chantilly. While I was a senior year high school, I was in junior ROTC and Cyber Patriot program. So those are things that are not available everywhere.
So education is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes, it is.
And education's uplift the souls.
They do.
And education, President Obama said, will be the currency of the 21st century.
Yes, sir.
And education frees the human mind from the shackles of ignorance.
100%.
So the question is, I am a woman, I'm not, but
Right,
I suppose I am.
right.
And I'm struggling. I got
Right.
2 kids.
Right.
I cannot afford to send my kids to the college or to the school. What would you do to help me to get there? To help my kids to go to school?
Well, we first of all have to make sure that everybody's earning a livable wage.
Okay.
Right? When you're earning a livable wage, you can make the rent. And you can, have transportation provided to yourself to get to work and back. And your children are obviously going to public schools and they're being picked up by
Okay, so
public
they
buses.
graduated from a school.
Yeah.
The dropout rate of the school in this country is, how much is it?
It's quite high.
Very, very high.
Yes, sir.
So what would you do to correct that situation for them?
The way you correct that is you don't allow, you use preventive measures, right? You prevent high schoolers from being in situations that are not positive.
So you create an environment
right?
for
You
them
create
to
the
excel.
environment. You foster such an environment where they do not get into drugs, where they do not get into gangs.
Well, they got to work hard, they got to aim high, they got a good education, they should be the best they can be.
They have to aspire to working hard,
And you
not
want to
only
be
in
that
school.
role model.
I've done it myself.
Good. So that's the first thing, education.
Yes.
Well, but the most important thing about the K-12 education, that's formed the basis for the children to be a leader in the nation.
Right.
I mean, that's very important. But most of the kids cannot afford to go to college.
Right.
They cannot go to university.
I understand
it's
that.
impossible for them to do that. If you're a middle-class American, you cannot afford to send the kids to college. What would you do to support them?
I think we have to have a comprehensive plan where if a child is excelling in school, is working hard with a job, right, they should be able to go to school without any hindrances financially. That is where we as a community, society, politics, legislation has a role to play, right? As a product of public schools, I thereon went to Rutgers University. It was an out-of-state school. My parents had saved up. They struggled to let me attend there. It was a privilege. But I do know the reason that I came back to Virginia is because I could no longer afford out-of-state tuition.
That's true. So second question was education. What's the second one?
Equality.
Yeah, equality.
Equality-wise, we have to make sure that there's a level playing field for everybody, no matter where you come from, no matter who you are, your religion, your race, your sexual preference, whoever you are. There has to be an equal playing field for you to excel beyond your own measures, right? And that is something we have to make sure that the Virginia State House of Legislature, House of Delegates, ensure for every Virginian. What I think 2 issues that are part of this is the school-to-prison pipeline, as well as the mandatory sentencing, which well-renowned judges are very well against. We have to focus on these things so that we don't discriminate any person when they come to the law. When they are presented in front of a judge, there is no already predisposed sentence for them, right? There is no school-to-prison pipeline. We have to rehabilitate our juveniles
So
in
you
some
have
cases.
to reform the criminal justice system.
Yes, we 100% do.
So what about the third E?
Third E is economy.
Economy.
Yes.
So what's the message for you in terms of job and economy? I am a person, for example, I just gave an example. I got 2 kids, I cannot put food on the table.
Right.
My job that I used to have, manufacturing job, they all gone to overseas because the corporation thinks that it's better and cheaper and faster in the overseas.
Right.
How about Donald Trump's message? I'll take care of you. He hasn't taken care of it, but he said he will take care of it. What's your message to them?
He has a populist message, and my message
his message
is
is very short.
Yes.
And very precise.
Right.
And very appealing.
Very inaccurate too, right?
Well, but that's the campaign.
Right.
And that's the governing part.
We're trying to campaign on truths to matter, right? So my answer to that is the reason that I chose economy to be a very important part of this campaign. I'm a small business owner.
Sure.
I started my business myself.
So what's the biggest challenge small business have?
The biggest challenge is starting out. The biggest challenge is conceiving in your mind that you can do this, right? But not only that. The state, your district, your county, your city have to have a business-friendly environment. They have to foster an environment where if somebody out of high school, out of college says, hey, I want to start a business, our environment has to be there and say, hey, awesome, do this, create those jobs for us. That's great, right? And that's not happening right now.
So the biggest challenge that the small business has
Right, is starting
the
out.
access to economy.
Exactly.
Access to capital.
Access
so how
to
would you
capital
go about community college to give them the money so they can start their business?
There's an idea that, if there are college graduates trying to, after graduation, open up a business, right, to somehow reduce their interest rate on their student loans, right, to give them a relief on the interest.
So that means the state should really guarantee that loan for the bank is
It should be something they can apply to.
The bank is looking for the firstborn.
Right.
And if you don't have firstborn, they're not going to give you any money.
Right, but this should be an opportunity that students can apply to, and with various perspectives and various filters get granted that.
So do you believe that I propose to the President Obama that SBA should guarantee some of these loans that the small business is looking for? Is that
I think there should be.
Something a state should
I
do?
think given that
not giving the money, but guaranteeing the loan,
right?
So that the bank can lend the money. For example, community bank especially.
Right. I'm saying given that a business owner has a business plan,
right,
has a set record, they should be guaranteed some sort of capital to start out, in the beginning. And I, as a business owner who started myself without much help, right? I believe we can do that. We just have to foster the environment, and we have to make sure that we tell our college students, where they're becoming doctors, engineers, pilots, whatever, IT professions, what have you, they should have in their mind openness to the business world. And the economy does better for more people under Democrats than it does under Republicans, and we have to ensure that that happens here in Virginia. We just saw, like last week, Republicans in the House delegates declined to offer over 400,000 Virginians Medicaid health care, right? Those are opportunities that we are not banking upon, right? When we leave our neighbors stranded in the rain without an umbrella while we're walking to the same car, that's a problem.
Okay. So that's the message.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now my next question is, tell us a little bit to the audience about the primary process and when they have to go to vote and make sure they go to vote. And
right.
Just tell
so
them
our primary is June 13th, 2017.
June 13th.
Yes, it is June 13th, along with all the other primaries here in Virginia. They're all the same day.
Okay. So from this will come out a candidate for your district.
Yes.
From the Democratic Party.
Yes.
And then there will be Republican candidates also.
Right. So
okay.
in the 13th, we have, I have the primary. The last day to register
yes.
is May 22nd.
May 22nd.
Which
so
is a Monday.
Tell the audience where do they go register?
Monday, May 22nd is the last day for you to register to vote or update your current registration. So if you move into the district or out, you can update your registration May 22nd, Monday. You can the last time to request an absentee ballot is June 6th by 5 p.m. Please note, your registrar has to receive the application by 5 p.m., not just you have to send it out. And then you can vote absentee by mail or in person, though that will start off, mid-May too. And I encourage people to vote absentee. There is, to be very frank, our friends on the right side, and I say friends because I'd like to work with them.
Well, it should
our
be.
friends on the right side have
You're a Democrat, obviously.
I am, yes, 100%.
100%.
100%. But at the same time, I believe in working together. I believe in letting go of my ego.
So you're stronger together.
We are. We truly are.
And you can help shape a better future.
We
if you work
truly
together.
are. We have to.
Right.
If we don't work with one another, right, there is no future. If we're just standing our ground and we're not giving in,
so you want to seek the common ground.
We
but
have
you stay
to.
on your, but you stand on your ground.
We are a commonwealth, right? And not only that, so they have been successful in
who have been successful?
The right side of our
they
political
have been
aisle.
Successful in framing the message and winning the election, but they're not very successful in governing, obviously.
Obviously, what they usually do is get elected, govern badly, and then go back and say, "See, government can't do right things." Well, it's because you did it yourself. But my point was they have been successful in convincing people that they can't absentee vote for certain reasons. 99.9% of the population can absentee vote, given they work somewhere else, they move somewhere else. Yes, absentee ballots, absentee voting. If a different time works for you, any day you're off, literally, you can go on and vote during an absentee in-person election.
So what do you think of the idea of the voter suppression that's going on somewhere? All the
it
places?
is 100% true. It is not a myth. And this is
and
part
that happened
of it.
as you know, in Virginia also.
This is part of it. not convincing somebody that you can't vote absentee is part of voter suppression, because there are many reasons why somebody can vote absentee. If you're driving half an hour from home to work, including traffic, that's a reason to vote, absentee. Voter suppression is very real. As a minority who earned his citizenship, and my family, we know what the value to vote is, and I think everybody has to realize that.
And why, so you want them to be active participant in the political process so that they can have a voice. And they can have a seat on the table.
Right.
Otherwise, we cannot change it.
Yes.
And we live in a representative democracy. The only way we're going to change it if we vote.
Yes.
Is that the message for the audiences?
A wise man once said, if you do not participate in your political structure, then you let your inferior peers decide for you.
So, as President Kennedy said, if you don't vote, you cannot get the country that you deserve.
100%. And when we say some gave all and all gave some, I think all can give some by voting.
Okay. So you're running for the Virginia House of Delegates. Which district is this?
13th.
13th district.
This includes Manassas Park, and Gainesville.
Okay. What's the message that you have for the audience that you're well qualified to do this job and your opponent is not?
I will address this directly to the nation and say, I have been here my whole life. I'm a lifelong Virginian. I went to Centerville Elementary, Centerville High School. I've been a very active part of my community my whole life. We moved to Gainesville about 4.5 years ago, and I know quite literally our district is the dumping grounds of traffic of Northern Virginia when it comes to 66 and 28. Our district is where both of those routes literally end in terms of traffic.
So what did you do to
we have to in place a bus rapid transit system. We have to increase public access to transportation to get to work. This is also a way that intertwines with low income families. When you can't get to work on time because you can't afford a car, you miss out on time
spent. So you do believe in public transit system?
I do, 100%. And one of the issues is our current delegate has been there for 24 plus years and has done nothing about it.
Has done nothing.
Has done absolutely nothing about it.
Has not made a difference in people's lives.
Not at all.
So your constituency.
That has to happen. You are the person who's going to be the change agent. Correct. You better bet that I will work hard for
to be change agent.
Yes, because I'm one of them. I'm not an outsider who's coming in here and saying,
"You're not
hey,
a carpetbagger."
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Not at all.
So explain to me, if someone wants to get involved with the campaign,
right?
How would they go about talking to you, getting to know who you are, getting to know issues and challenges they face, and other things? How do they get hold of you?
We are a grassroots campaign.
Grassroots campaign.
So it's very direct. I'm not the candidate that.
So call me, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm not the candidate you can't reach. 571-781-0731 is our cell phone, and you call directly. You can get a hold of me.
And you were there to help and support.
I am
you
there
work for them.
To hold hands and say together.
We can make a difference.
We can make a difference, and we will make a difference. We will win this primary. We will go on to November, win this general election, and get to the Virginia House of Delegates, propose legislation that are going to make real differences.
So I hear three things for the issues: education, economy,
equality.
and equality.
Yes, we do.
What about the people that are facing in terms of the transportations? I mean, that's the biggest.
Economy was part of that, actually, but transportation is intertwined between all three of those, right? In order to get to your job, you need better transportation. In order to get to schools, you need better transportation.
So what would you do to help them?
Well, first of all, we have to explore within the 13th what different ideas are that are already there, where we have the right of ways of creating new roads, but before creating new roads, my biggest proposal is a bus rapid transit system which would link the 13th district with the airport, with Tyson's Corner, Nutley, Centerville,
and
Chantilly.
Who will pay for it? Obviously, the federal government in this administration has no desire to help the state.
Right. Well, that's something that we will implore them time and again. But also, the state, it's always about moving money from here to there. we can do it. It's not. It's always about priorities. Right now, House Republicans have a misplaced priorities, and we have to fix those. Once Democrats are in, we're going to fix those priorities, and their priorities are going to get the funding they need.
What are those priorities?
Those priorities are, like I just mentioned, public transport, public schools, and the right to the right to live your life, the right to health care, the right to be a privileged citizen with a livable wage.
So how would you go about when Trump stood up in the state of Virginia, we're going to replace and repeal Obamacare, because it's not very cost effective, and it does cost a lot of money. That's what he said. What would you go about telling them that the health access to the health is very important? There's 35 million people have access to this health care there, and it is a job creator. According to Mitch McConnell, they're a job buster.
Right.
So how would you go about telling them that?
Well, Obamacare was the first step to a better system. Right?
So we have to improve upon it.
We have to improve upon it. Everything and anything can be improved upon. No, you don't want to dismantle the great progress we've had. One thing I want to remind President Trump is that he lost Virginia. He lost Prince William County. He lost my district by over 9 points. So there's not much success there for him. His words do not have much value here in Virginia. And one thing is, we as a state legislature, once Democrats are in, we have the next Democratic governor in, we're going to stand up to this White House and say, hey, we're willing to work with you if you have the right ideas in mind for our citizenry, but not if you're not going to.
And a good example of the Mark Herring, who's the Attorney General, stood up and also went to the court in terms of the rendered his responsibility for the Muslim ban.
Yes.
So that's really something that you believe in it.
Yep.
Well,
I landed at Nellis.
Thank you very, very much for coming.
Thank you so much, Frank.
Back to you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And this is Frank Islam wishing you a great week, and thank you for watching.